I talk about time and time again how the West and Northern Nevada is a far attractive place for folks to move to, and we see a lot of migration from the East to the West because we have better climate here. We don't have hurricanes. We don't have tornadoes, but by no means are we perfect. So in this video, we're going to talk about the risk of living here, and the biggest one is fires. Just like California, we're right next to California, we're high desert. So our summers are very dry. Our falls can be very dry before the snow comes. So we are prone to fires, brush fires, forest fires. It's a very real thing here, and homes do get lost to brush and forest fires. So if you're thinking about selling in this market and you're trying to attract a buyer who may not know about it, how can you attract it if, say, your home is in a fire-prone area? I'm going to provide you some tips of how to prepare your home for sale to make it marketable and minimize fire risk. This can be helpful if you're not selling and just wanting to reduce your fire risk overall, or trying to attract a new buyer so that they don't have to do the work and minimize the risk of losing your home or having your home damaged to brush or forest fires. Fires are an event that to some extent occurs every year in Northern Nevada. We call them fire seasons. Sometimes the fire seasons are really bad. Sometimes they're not so bad, but it does affect a large portion of our state. In 2024, around 500,000 acres were burned in the state of Nevada. Some of this fire was right in the heart of Reno, and homes were lost. One of our most recent fires, at the time of this video, the Davis fire, 14 homes were lost to forest and brush fires. So the danger is real. A recent survey of buyers showed that 68% of home buyers looking in fire-prone areas did take into consideration if the home had fire-resistant features or not. Though we attract buyers from all over the nation, we do attract a lot of buyers from California. And a lot of the reason they are leaving and moving to our area is because even though we do have high fire risk, where they're coming from is even a higher fire risk. So they're very savvy and very aware of this. And by no means do they want the same thing to happen again. When comparing two homes, if extra investments have been made in fire-resistant materials and features, there can be as big of a difference as 5 to 10% of the overall purchase price. So to get the most money out of your home when selling or just minimizing your fire risk, here's 4 of the top major improvements you can do to reduce fire risk. Improvement 1, defensible space. This is the one that's the most cost-effective because you're really not replacing materials of your home. Instead, you're creating a boundary around your home or around your property line to minimize the spread of fire. Step 1, removing shrubs, creating a space that there's not enough fuel for the fire to grow. Cutting down bushes, removing dead trees, limbing trees so that the limbs are not low to the ground for brush fires, laying down gravel or other non-combustible items. You'll see around town where people have larger lots, and you see around the border of their lot, you'll see about a 6 to 10 foot space of just gray gravel or something similar. This is because when the brush fire is running, it will literally stop it. I personally have had fires near my home and have watched fires go down the canyons right in the heart of Reno. And I've seen neighbors with defensible space, and it's wild to see. You'll see the fire go through at a very fast pace and then just come to a complete stop right at the gravel. It's really remarkable to see in person, but it's one of the most effective things people can do is create defensible space on their property. Now, some might not want to do it at the property line and instead do it closer to the home. And you'll see this, a gravel boundary around the property so that yes, the property might be affected by fire, but now there's a space away from the home. One of the hardiest plants we have in Northern Nevada is sagebrush, and it grows very, very dry. So when we have brush fires, they can spread so quickly through the sagebrush. So removing sagebrush from your property can help create defensible space. And because this is mostly labor involved, it's one of the lowest costs improvements you can do to your property to minimize fire risk. Improvement 2, upgrading materials. So I'm sure you've heard the stories about embers being able to move miles on end. And defensible space arguably might not do that. If the embers jump over the gravel barrier, then you still could be susceptible to fire. One way to prevent those embers is changing the exterior materials of your home, converting your roof to metal, installing mesh or other non-combustible items under your eaves. You can also change your siding to non-combustible items. Cement board, metal siding will help provide more time to defend your home against fires. Improvement number 3, hardening vulnerable spaces. Just because there's metal siding, cement board, stucco on the side of a house doesn't mean it's fireproof by any means. Now do a high-risk assessment of your home. There's still places that likely have combustible items. Use metal mesh to prevent embers from entering the combustible items. Cover exposed wood with cement board, metal, or stucco. Check eaves, check gables, vents to make sure that embers can't get inside an attic. And the goal of this by no means is to make a home fireproof. It's to make it more defendable. Prolong the time that it could be affected by fire so that emergency services have more time to defend your home. As nationwide, some of the largest reasons for homes being lost is the flying of embers away from emergency services starting fresh fires. Improvement number 4, Maintain and irrigate landscaping. The drier landscaping is, the more susceptible it is to fire. Don't use combustibles as landscaping. Use rock instead of bark. Avoid plants that are naturally dry that are going to act as kindling for fires. And sometimes remove bushes altogether, switching to xeriscape that's non-flammable. Takeaways again from the 4 improvements: create defensible space. Change your exterior materials. Do a high-risk assessment of where embers can get in, and replace with non-combustible items or protective barriers. Create fire-resistance landscaping using rocks, xeriscape, plants that aren't naturally dry and need irrigation. Tips on how to receive guidance in this. Call your local fire department. All local fire departments here in Northern Nevada will provide a free assessment. They'll come to your house, give opinions on ways to minimize your fire risk. Document the changes that you've made so that when you market to a prospective buyer, they can see the changes that you've done and being conscious about fire reduction. Check to see if your community has local fire codes and guidelines. This can help provide a roadmap of the changes that you want to make to minimize your fire risk. As soon as humidity drops, fire season is here. Take advantage of the resources your community has to offer. Talk to your fire department. Have them come assess your property. Your next buyer will appreciate it, and if you're staying, you can minimize your risk of brush and forest fires.